Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is February 26th, and today's episode covers the aftermath of the summary of Val's tokenomics, and then some talk about price action, how that's going, and a couple of tidbits out of the EigenLayer community. So stay tuned, and we'll cover all that and more upcoming right up.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hi, so the first thing we're going to cover today is this summary thread that I wrote and put on Reddit and on Twitter. And this was over the weekend. I did this on Saturday, and it was a summary of Val's tokenomics update. And the feedback from this has been absolutely amazing. So, on Friday's episode, we talked about Val's new tokenomics proposal, his cohesive plan that he's putting forward, and went into like a deep dive of it and covered like all the different aspects of it. Well, what I did was I kind of made a summary of his proposal and covered like the pertinent parts and put it on Reddit here, and the post was actually really, really well received. So I kind of covered it in a few different paragraphs. So I said, Valdorf wrote this thing, so let's cover it. So I said, he's got three main motivations. That is making a Rocket Pool node operation more profitable compared to rivals, attracting more RETH minting, and adding value streams to the RPL token. So those are Val's three main things. And then I kind of talked about how the main thrust of his argument was setting up, making a new system of validator creation, and that was changing the first two validators being LEB4s, and then after that LEB 1.5s. And how, like I give the example of a node operator now who has 100 ETH can make 12 validators, LEB8s, and they'll have 4 ETH left. While that same validator under the new system would be able to spin up 64 validators. So it just shows you that, Rocket Pool's growth here is 5 times more basically from the same node operators, which is pretty amazing. It goes even higher, right, if the more of the people have higher collateral amounts, because those first two validators kind of get eaten away by the percentages. Then I go and talk about how the reward system is going to change and how the collateral system is going to change. So I said, you'll have 3 options of how you interact with the Rocket Pool on the staking side. The RETH stuff is going to pretty much stay the same, except there'll be some commission tweaks, but that's getting ahead of myself. So on the staking side, you'll be able to come and stake ETH only as a node operator, and then explain how you can stake ETH and RPL together to get the most rewards, or you'll be able to stake RPL alone. So this will change how node operators come to Rocket Pool, or stakers come to Rocket Pool, and it'll help it grow really well. And then I said, what's the benefit of this? I said the great thing is that you'll get super massive rewards, and the main reason for that is because your LEB5s will be getting commission on 30.5 ETH worth of RETH minting, and that is going to be 14% of that is actually really nice. It's going to be 2 times higher than solo staking, like just over double solo staking as you get the higher amounts of staked RPL ETH that you have. And then for the ETH, so they'll be getting 5% basically of the staking rewards from the RETH if you are staking ETH only. If you are staking RPL only, you'll be getting 9% of those rewards. So, we're going to be giving more rewards to RPL stakers than we are to ETH stakers, but those rewards are going to be really nice as well. And then if you, of course, bring RPL and ETH together, then you'll be getting that full 14%. So, and I said, Val shows images of what it might look like. And if there's too many people who are staking ETH only, then the rewards are going to be phenomenal for those who, stake RPL. They're going to grow hugely. So that I covered all that stuff as well. And then I said that this will help RPL become like a fee switched on token. So there was talk about Uniswap last week with there just being a proposal about switching the fee sharing on there, and basically for Rocket Pool that will be the case with the RPL token, kind of where you'll stake it and you'll get a share of the RETH commission that comes into the protocol. And then I said that Val explains that you need some supporting upgrades to happen, and these will need to happen, at the Rocket Pool level, but also at the Ethereum level. And I said that the 3 main ones are, a new commission system that needs to be brought in, like a universal variable commission, which, which will change the amount that RETH holders pay as commission, depending on what the status of the deposit pool is. So if the deposit pool is empty, then they will pay more commission. Yeah, that's right. Because we need more. Sorry, then they'll pay less commission because we don't need more node operators. We'll need more ETH minting. And then if the deposit pool is full, then we can get them to pay more commission to get node operators, like attract node operators to come online and kind of start staking. So they take up some of that deposit pool ETH. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, we need the megapool contract to upgrade. And that is going to be one of the things that would happen in Saturn. So those are the things from the Rocket Pool side. And then from the Ethereum side, we need forced exits, which is the need for, EIP 7002, which would let the Rocket Pool protocol kick out people who are stealing MEV or, due to inactivity leak or anything like that. So those are the things that we need. Now, in terms of timelines, the soonest all of those that can happen is dependent on Petra. And Petra, the best case scenario, I think, is November, but it's likely that it'll be in Q1 of 2025. So those are things that we kind of have to pay attention to there. And I said, we're still in the process of figuring things out, but this is an amazingly exciting time for Rocket Pool. If you have any questions or want to contribute to these changes, come by to the Rocket Pool Discord and join the discussion. If you're coming to ETH Denver, we'll have sessions on the Saturday afternoon at the Denver Liftoff event, which is Rocket Pool's first dedicated conference, where we'll brainstorm the various visions. There will be presentations on these changes during Sunday's sessions. Expect the community to leave Denver with 2 or 3 cohesive plans, and we can work on and vote on in the next couple of months. So I said I've never been as bullish on Rocket Pool as I am now, and this post had 120 upvotes on the daily, and that is actually a mind-bogglingly large amount. This is actually a very, very, very strongly and well-received post. And there were a whole lot of people asking questions about about the security and how that's going to be dependent on this. People asking questions about how the timeline is going to be. People asking questions about the commission and how it's going to work and how it's going to come to node operators. This person here, A52E4B2E said that, they didn't spin up a validator because they don't want the RPL requirement, but with ETH-only validators and the fact that, the reward is going to be so boosted for Rocket Pool node operators, he said his exact words were, you can count me in. So he says, if that's the case with no requirement for RPL, you can fully count on me to convert. I liked how easy everything was when I messed around with the testnet back when. I guess the final consideration will only be for tax purposes. So then I said, he said, the Rocket Pool community, in particular the support community, are what keep me as a node operator. There's another person, and even had to get higher APRs as a node operator than solo staking. I'd still be Rocket Pool for the ease of use. I could not be a solo node operator without Rocket Pool's smart node platform. That was really cool that, people were really giving respect. Here, Crypto Moon said, would this make it a security? And I said, I'm not a securities lawyer. Oops. And then Ethical Trade here said, this is the most bullish news for Rocket Pool that I've seen in a long while. Fantastic, and thanks for the write-up and bringing the info to ETH Finance. And then other people said, this is good. And, this fixes one of the long-term issues they had with Rocket Pool. And here, Banana Phone Home said, this is fucking awesome. And Random Zillion Main, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, said, that's great, high effort and value comment. Thank you for sharing. Holding RPL seems like it could serve as a great alternative to the point system. And Halululo said, this is pretty fucking awesome. And here, Fast Contract says, I'm swapping my Stark airdrop for RPL. So there were many such posts, and the feedback was really, really strong. And just the amount of likes that this post got were phenomenal. It's my most well-received post ever, I think. So that's pretty cool. Of course, it wasn't just on Reddit that this post got a lot of positive feedback. I also posted a slightly trimmed down version of it, but covering the main points on Twitter as well. And again, this was one of my most well-received tweets that I've ever had. So there were 36 bookmarks, 145 likes, and also 45 reposts, and a whole bunch of people leaving feedback as well. So it was quite a long thread, but like I said, it was really well received, and people really liked reading this, and great ideas that came out of it as well. So much so that Anthony Sassano this morning covered it as one of the third or fourth story basically in the episode, one of the first main non-big Ethereum stories that he gave coverage to, and he was really kind in he's been so kind to me anyway, like for a while, since I've known him, like in a year now. He's been so kind to me, but like he gave a shout out, he covered the thing, and he was actually extremely bullish Rocket Pool, which was really, really awesome to see. In fact, as you can see here, the intern pulled out some nice quotes actually from Susano, and he says, "I'm really bullish on Rocket Pool. I'm really bullish on these upgrades. They've still got the most node operators by far, and we should definitely be supporting them as much as possible. Rocket Pool is at the forefront." So Anthony Susano definitely seeing the value of what Rocket Pool is doing, which is really awesome. And as you know, like this is the thread that I covered. What I covered was just like the main thread. However, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's options for you to go into deeper dives basically into the content. So there's the main content, and kind of explains what's there. And then with tier 2, you get more of Val's ideas coming through. And then with tier 3 here as well, you get more suggested reading and more ideas and how it's all going to look and work. So that's really cool. Definitely go and give that a read if you are interested. So I'm not taking credit for this, but one of the things that happened over the weekend is that the price actually started to heal. Thankfully, I think at the low we went down to 0.0092, which was not fun. But over the weekend we got like a whole bunch of trickling buys coming through, and of course ETH and BTC are pumping as well. But what I'm saying is that from that low that we had last week, we've actually bounced back from that a little bit, which is wonderful. I think sentiment basically shifted completely from Friday, and once Val's post came out, the discussions that came after that were all about like full of possibility and hope. And I think what happened was the community kind of like had something to look forward to again, instead of just watching the price bleed, right? So people kind of galvanized around Val's post, even though it's just a proposal at the moment. We're still refining it. We're still like gonna have other proposals coming through as well potentially. We have one from Samus, of course, but potentially more than that as well. But what's really great here is that there's been a shift in sentiment, and the price has going up. Of course, it's not gone up to anywhere the levels that we want it to be. Of course, the ratio is 0.01, which is what I just broke earlier today. It's gone a little bit down from there again, but the great thing is that the sentiment shifted, which is really cool to see. There's this wall here now, and Marceau was the one who provided the liquidity on the downside. So this, like, if you're looking on the video now, the little green bar, that was the liquidity that Marceau provided, and we kind of dug deep into that, but then kind of came out of that as well, and now we're kind of on the other side of it, just about on the other side of it, which means there's a low liquidity zone now between 0.01 and 0.015 pretty much, where there's a pencil wall, and then after that there's a little bit more of a gap until around about 0.015. So Marceau actually did quite well on that liquidity position. So if you have a look at the position that he provided, you can see that he provided $1.6 million of liquidity, and he earned over a weekend he earned $21,000 in fees. So that's actually pretty nice. So good job, Marceau. But that actually like really helped the community, because it kind of let us see that the downside isn't catastrophic, and like people kind of, there was hope that came back into the community, which was wonderful to see. And then something that was kind of a little bit of a joke, but also brought back some hope, but like more about laughs, was this tweet from crypto.ro global, and they said that they've crunched Rocket Pool and they've got a price predictor now, and they expect it to soar in the coming years. And they said it's currently priced at $28.26, and they're predicted to reach $1,039.93 by 2030. So of course that got the whole community talking as well, but mostly kind of laughing at it. This is what the breakdown looks like if you're looking on the screen. So for 2025, they think the average price will be $275. For 2026, the average price will be $420. Then for 2027 to 2028, there's going to be a bull bear here basically for 2 years, where it'll be 385 and 350. But then in 2029 and 2030 will be another bull run, with the average price being $595 and $821. And during that time, the high will reach in 2030, the high will be $1,039.93. So yeah, we all, Bossy was quick to put out a tweet saying that $1,039.93 per RPL is FUD. And then people are saying like, I'll catch you on my yacht and all of this kind of like fun stuff. So that's kind of become a little meme in the community now. But I think like the sentiment has just shifted hugely over the weekend. And I think we really kind of like needed that. And the fact that we got that has been so fantastic. Okay, the next thing, I've got a couple of updates from the NodeSet community. So here I'm going to kind of mix around the order a little bit. So DagoDuck here says, by the way, have you guys been in touch with EigenLayer? It seems like they had a meeting or two with Coinbase Cloud. And here there's a tweet from Coinbase Cloud saying you've probably heard about EigenLayer by now. The restaking protocol continues to make waves as the ETH deposits pour in. Over the past week, its TVL has jumped to $8 billion. And then there's like explaining about, you know, how Coinbase Cloud might be able to help them with their operators. And then Wonder replied by saying, we're in touch with EigenLayer. That's all I can say at the moment. So that was a nice little tease that Wonder had from there. I don't know what's going to happen with that or what that means exactly, but that's interesting. One of the things that happened as well was DagoDuck, like going back, like I said, he asked them about, there was kind of this discussion ongoing about the new tokenomics and how it might impact NodeSet and their ideas for Rocket Pool. And here, as you know, Sam has said, sorry if this is a repeat question, but what specifically happens to the 7% going to NodeSet? Does it basically just go to the treasury to help fund NodeSet, or is that 7% that's going to NodeSet get passed back for yield somewhere else? And Nick says that goes to the administrator, which is currently us. We could direct a portion of those funds to incentives used to pay developer salaries, etc. We won't have a token, so it's not like we have a large treasury. Sama says makes sense. And then Nick says, with all the tokenomics changes being proposed, we'll have to spend some time assessing how they'll impact the model. Actually, I'd probably like to chat with you about your combined proposal in Denver at some point, if you don't mind. And then Sama says, I was thinking about that, and fundamentally, I don't think it changes much for NodeSet. He says the main value proposition of NodeSet seems to be stake with us, and you don't have to pay a commission fee. That would still be true under the new tokenomics. If anything, you should also have more flexibility with your RPL. Instead of being boxed into requiring 10% per node, you can basically stake as much RPL as NodeSet receives, and then the rest is ETH only. It might be a bit weird trying to figure out which nodes get which RPL, but it seems like a solvable problem that would provide NodeSet with even more flexibility under new tokenomics. But I would enjoy chatting in ETH Denver for sure. And then Nick says, I looked through all of it at a high level. Most of them will be net neutral. Samus says, I'd say net positive overall. Before tokenomics changes, you'd be constrained by having to make RPL and ETH deposits grow together at an optimal rate and potentially stagnate if that doesn't happen. After tokenomics, you can just take whatever depositors give you and still be effective / run with that. One of the things that Samus doesn't mention here, of course, is the RPL that you deposit with NodeSet will be liquid, right? You'll get X RPL back, and that will be different from people who deposit it directly with Rocket Pool, you know, into a vault or whatever it will be, whatever model we decide on. What will happen is that won't be liquid, so there might be a strong preference for people coming to NodeSet to deposit their RPL instead of depositing directly with Rocket Pool. Of course, then the counter to that is by depositing it to NodeSet and getting extra RPL back, that might incur a taxable event depending on where you are in the world. Whereas if you deposit it directly with Rocket Pool, that'll just be depositing into a vault, which is not a taxable event as far as I know. Please check with your tax accountant, lawyer / whatever person you go to with that advice. So then there were some more questions here about like the tokenomics, saying DagoDuck says there would be zero advantage to taking RPL through NodeSet instead of directly with Rocket Pool if node operation no longer a requirement for staking and the rewards are the same, right? So he of course is not counting the liquidity aspect of it, the liquid token aspect of it. So Sem says things are still up in the air, but I would think it would actually be a boon for NodeSet if they don't have to worry about managing RPL anymore. And then Wonder says it's a bit more complicated than that. Our napkin calculations actually saw this as a significant net negative for RPL validation, even at 22% market share. Let's chat more at Denver, since I think there's some good discussion to be had. I really think Rocket Pool can get to 22% without changing the tokenomics at all. That is a very, very interesting perspective, because I don't think many people like in the community actually have that position. So Wonder saying that really makes me want to see, you know, what ideas he has And then Samus says, can you share the napkin calculations, or we can still talk ETH Denver. He says, I want to do a more thorough analysis before posting anything because someone will inevitably take it and run 100 times further with it. Like NodeSet hits progress down with Wonder. He says, we're pretty busy prepping for Denver, but I'll let you know when I have something to share. And then non-fungible Yoakum says, another fleshed out proposal would be good. From my perspective, directly tying RPL to ETH yield has some big risks. And then Wanda says that this is the crux of the issue. Real ETH yield numbers are scary, especially since the core devs are thinking of reducing it further. I would rather see RPL take on a business model that supports existing tokenomics, e.g. lending, because it doesn't hurt existing node operators who bought in expecting certain tokenomics. It's dumped enough already based on the unlocking, which basically represented a speedrun of terminal tokenomics. So this is like some Wander's ideas that I'm just reading out here. And then non-fungible Yoakum says the trick with lending is that it needs to keep the operator's risks and collateral needs at a minimum, or there will not be a good uptake on it. And that's kind of what we've seen with the Miso Finance lending stuff, peer-to-peer lending. It's not really gained traction because I think people just don't understand the full risks of it. And then Wander here shares a little bit of information. He says, yeah, to be honest, it's not an easy problem to solve. Here's a sneak peek of our keynote that summarizes the difficulty here. So he says, this is a screenshot of a slide. It says ideas for growing rocket pool, and then there's idea, and then it says difficulty. So it says reduce the requirements, e.g. LEB4s, and he says that's hard, because I guess, I don't know why he thinks that's hard. And then he says attract new node operators, e.g. ETH only mini pools. He says that's hard. And then he says encourage layer 2s on top of Rocket Pool, like Constellation or any other bespoke or, white label products. He says that will be made possible with Houston. So that's already happening. So just like, I haven't really talked to Wander about this, but I made the comment that, except you could get a liquid staking token for your RPL with NodeSet that you wouldn't with Rocket Pool, and the cut will be the cost of liquidity. And then I don't think that really brought up any more discussion, but then the discussion kind of goes on. So if you are interested in reading that, then definitely go and give it a read. But my high level understanding about the attract new node operators or ETH only mini pools, I think that might be a problem that Wanda maybe is not understanding, or maybe I'm not sure what's happened there, because if you look at Val's numbers, if every node operator that we had already switched to the new system, then they wouldn't even have to add a single new ETH to get us up to 5 million RETH mintable, right? So the scaling options there are potentially limitless. Like every 1.5 new ETH that comes online lets us mint 30 more RETH. Like it's just astronomical like growth and unlock of efficiency. So I'm really interested to see what Wanda has to say about this. Sadly, I'll be on my flight, so I'm going to miss Wanda's keynote in Denver, but I'm definitely going to watch a recording of that as soon as I land, or as soon as I can get hold of it, because I'm really, really curious to see what they have to say about this. And I'm gonna be looking at that with eyes firmly set on that. Okay, next we got some updates from Joe, and kind of tying into the last part, it kind of flows quite nicely. So Joe popped into trading last night, and he says, all right, gents, I've actually have use of my hands for once. I'm going to lay it down really quick. Here's the deal, things in no particular order. So here he has a screenshot of terminal interface, and it says install hyperdrive, and then it's like password for the computer. It says reading package list done, building dependency tree done, reading state information done. Hyperdrive is already the newest version, 0.30 dev, 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 0 to remove, and 3 not upgraded. So Joe says this is a thing now, coming soon to a smart node near you. So it looks like Joe has basically finished a dev version of his smart node add-on for Hyperdrive, which of course is NodeSet's layer 2 on top of Rocket Pool. So that is making progress, which is really wonderful to see. I said, hi, Joe. And I said, I miss you, Joe. I hope everything's going well. And then Joe gives another update. He says, 2, the team agreed to let me pull the core out of the HD and make it a node manager core library under the Rocket Pool GitHub repo. Both the SNV2 and HD will be based off that, so both get the same patches and stuff. Now, I have no idea what that means, so if you understand it, good job. And then he says, speaking of patches, there's your core proj. And he says, I upgraded to Nimbus 24.2.1 yesterday, and today I had 2 props on the same validator within 5 hours of each other. WTF, right? But they're broke. He says the VC is hitting an out of bounds exception, so I'm helping them explore it. In the meantime, though, what I've realized is that exceedingly hard to care for a newborn and a node at the same time, because both require my undivided attention and use of both hands. He says, I'm making the executive decision to gracefully bow out of Beacon for my own peace of mind until she starts sleeping through the night. I'll probably rejoin around Saturn, since we'll have to exit and rejoin for that anyway. He says, nobody panic. And she's up again. So Joe, of course, had a baby girl a couple of weeks ago, and he's like still managing to find time to work, which is, yeah, more power to you, Joe. And he says she's up again. And he said, I just fed her for 2 hours and rocked her. At least she let me type this. So once she got back to sleep, I guess Joe came back, and so questions asked back and forth, and Joe was giving some information, which was really cool. And then he says she's chill again. He says there's one command on I never have run on mainnet. And then people asking, is this about NodeSet? And he says they're my guinea pigs for Smart Node version 2 tech. So the Smart Node version 2 tech is making good progress. And this is Beacon is switched off. So I'm not sure exactly what I said, Joe, how long are you off for paternity leave? He says officially as long as it takes. I think Joe's goal is to get the baby sleeping through the night, and once that happens, then he'll come back, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work out, but that's just how things are right now. So Joe said officially as long as it takes, and then market is at 18 years. So yeah, hopefully not 18 years. But he says unofficially I'm doing a little work here and there at night, but it varies a lot depending on her fussiness level. So, as being a newish dad myself, my little guy's 9 months old now. Normally, within a couple of months, like 2 or 3 months, things start to settle down quite a lot. They get into a good routine, they're waking up at night is more regular and stuff. So hopefully Joe will come back, not because, anything else, but just because we miss Joe. So it's really nice that he popped in and gave us a little drive-by update of what he's been working on while having a brand new baby. So thanks, Joe. Okay, next we've got some updates from the GMC here. So there's a new GMC proposal here to redraft the document that tells the community what the GMC is supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it, like basically RPIP 26. So this is a new RPIP that will supersede RPIP 26. So there's a few different things that Schifrin wants to update here. One of them is conflict of interest. This is revise the conflict of interest section to allow GMC members to participate in grants that have not been identified as competing grants, add additional clarity on GMC members participating in bounties. And then it says schedule adjustment, make an adjustment to the application deadline within the schedule, and says restore the missing section. So there was a section that was incorrectly removed from RPIP 26 that should be added back into RPIP 26. And I think that was in RPIP 10, which is the original founding RPIP of Rocket Pool, the GMC. So they explain Schifrin explains the conflict of interest, saying that the GMC members are the most active members of the Rocket Pool community. Therefore, they apply for grants, retroactive awards, bounties, etc. And it's happening too much where members can't, help in the decision-making process because they have some kind of conflict, right? According to the RPIP, there's a conflict. So in this round, Joe was off on paternity leave, but then we also had for conflict of interest. So Schifrin couldn't give comments because he was a POAP grant. Then Ken was on the Denver Liftoff grant. I was on the Weekly Orbit grant, and Dr. Doofus was on the Merchandise Store grant. So pretty much half of the GMC was not available. And we really struggled to get work done this month. So here Schifrin goes into a lot more detail, basically, of how he wants things done. With the scheduling thing, he found a cleaner way, basically, to make the grant cycles regular. So with the GMC then would have 16 days between the application the application window closing and the results going out, instead of sometimes right now we ended up with 9 days, which is a lot of work to do within a week. So That's really cool. And then finally, the missing section. So there's a lot of information here. There's a little snapshot vote at the bottom. So 11 people have voted that, we should take this to vote. And there's a strong representation from the GMC members. So Shifrin, Rocknet, myself, Patch is not GMC member, Dondo, Ken, Doofus, RPL Maxi, and Pateris is not a member, and then a couple of other non-members. But a whole bunch of GMC members are saying that we really want this to go to a vote. We really need these changes to happen to help us get to where we want to go. And then there was an update about the bounty thing in there as well. And you can go read this bounty incentives RPIP 39 if you want some information about that as well. So yeah. So speaking about grants, we're still going to stick on that topic. So here we had the latest rewards round that was gone through, and you can see information here about the different subcommittees and who's doing what work, and how the amounts were decided and ready for pay. And we officially had Dr. Doofus join the GMC because Kent Philly left, and then we're talking about deferring to the PDAO option. We want to create a new option where the GMC just doesn't give a response and automatically just asks for a vote from the PDAO because of the EigenLayer controversy that happened. Basically, we're thinking of putting together a DeFi subcommittee because right now we have marketing, development, and research. And DeFi one will be pretty good, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. And also, the RPIP update that I just covered for you all. So here there's a list of the applications. There were 16 applications in total. The total amounts of grants requested were $122,000. Total amounts of bounties was $33,300, and total amount of retroactive awards was $41,000. It says the total amount grants, bounties, and retro asks was $200,000 requested, and then we approved a whole bunch of them. So you can look here, some of the bigger items were, we're going to give ETH tax $10,000, and we kind of accepted, I think, about $40,000 or $50,000 worth. Let me see if there's a number here. I don't see it, but a few of them were deferred with future consideration. A few of them were declined, and one of them was withdrawn. And then there's feedback as well about what who got what, and what the GMC was thinking in giving this answer and this information basically. And then there was information about the member participation and how there were conflicts of interests. And there was also about an amendment in the rewards process and how one retroactive award was funded at a higher rate than initially discussed. So yeah, there's some discussion then that's come up, but otherwise, I think it was a successful grants period. So thank you to Shifrin and the GMC for getting that work done. They did a really good job. Okay, and then there's a bit more here from the GMC as well. So Shifrin shared this Google Sheet, that has a breakdown of all the different grants that people in the Rocket Pool community have received, and what the amounts of that are, and what kind of grant it was. So you can search this document and see who's gotten paid what and how much and all that kind of stuff. So here Pateris did just that. So he went through the document and kind of started looking at it to see who'd gotten what and how much, and how it's all worked out. So he says, so Pateris was breaking that by category, and he says would the GMC has spent $100,000 on support, and showed some screenshots here of money that Patches got, the object got, that Fornax got, and then he shared some more screenshots saying $72,000 on business development, $4,000 on POAPs, $4,000 on documentation, $340,000 in marketing, and then $370,000 in development, and $97,000 in governance. So there was and $100,000 in research. So he kind of dug into some of the numbers and says that we gave $1 million as grants, of which $740,000 have been paid out, and $276,000 are still to be paid. So I think there was some small issues with, I think Jasper was saying that his amount was double counted, so it might not be quite that much. It might be a little bit less, but it's really cool that, you can go and have a look and poke around and see who got what and, what work they did to deserve it. And there's links to all the original applications and everything that's come out of that as well. So it's really, really cool that Schifrin put that together. Definitely go and have a look at it if you have, a few minutes to spend and are curious. Okay, next, there's this stake party that we kind of set up in the community last week. And, Chaos was the first person, and I staked some RPL as well. And then Schifrin kind of made a POAP about it, and a POAP group to kind of just get some, morale building up again, into this, low morale period that we just went through. So a whole bunch of people would kind of putting their transactions in, and here Chaos Wax, Genux, War, Val, Vaca, SNG, a whole bunch of people kind of put their transactions through for their POAPs, and they wanted the POAP, right? So you still have until the end of February to stake some more RPL on your node. Share the transaction with Schifrin either publicly or privately if you want, and you can see. You can get a POAP. So, over the weekend, Schifrin was teasing the design, saying I'll release it tomorrow, which was yesterday. And then here a whole bunch more people were kind of sharing their staking as well. And then we said that we're going to do a buy party as well after ETH Denver. So any buys that people are making in February will be eligible, but then there'll be a separate POAP for a buy party as well that we're going to be starting after ETH Denver. So expect that, next week, which will be really cool. But I think Schifrin had an updated list of all the people who qualify for the POAP so far. So Ramana, Killjoy, Vale, Elf, Verito, Penvik, Lee, Vaca, Kushim, Dougie, a whole bunch of people. Sorry if I'm not reading your name out. And this is what the POAP looks like. It looks like a whole bunch of people waiting and watching the Rocket Pool logo kind of rising like the sun. On February 24, Stake Party POAP, Stakers Assemble. So that was really nice. And then Schifrin kind of fixed the list because there were a few missing, and a whole lot of people more kept staking as well. So this was really nice that dozens of people literally set up new stake and new buys as well. So they're really getting the party started, which is really awesome. And that's really nice that Schifrin does these because it really boosts community morale. Another person working on the POAP right now is Sleety. So he says he's playing around with the tokenomics POAP, which is a work in progress. So this is a POAP that I have no idea who will go out to or what the criteria will be for getting it. But it's Rocket Pool Community Tokenomics Rework February 2024. And he's kind of working on that at the moment. And the designs is just beautiful. So it's really cool. I'm really excited to getting that POAP. Okay, next I've got news of something really exciting for me personally, which is the merch store that Dr. Doofus got a grant for. And the first step that he's doing to spend some grant money is having an art competition for a swag that will go in the store. So he says design an image to be used as on swag in the merchandise store. Submit entries in this thread. Format, whatever you want, like a decent size. And then he says the prize is $100 for the top 10 entries, so $1,000 of prizes. He says enter now until March 10th. Voting will take place from March 10th to March 15th. The winners will be announced on March 16th. And then a whole lot of people are kind of putting comments in here to and some jokes as well. Putting some comments in here to kind of tag the thread so they remember to do it. But there's some really cool text work that people are doing, and there's some art that's already come through. So here there's some art from Wooden Chip, which is it says Rocket Pool in different ways. And then it says it's decentralized, permissionless, resilient, secure community Ethereum staking. And then there was one here from War as well, which is like a rocket design flying off into space, which is really cool. And there's a forums thread as well that kind of explains it a little bit more and kind of goes through the rules about who's eligible and what do you have to do, why are we doing this, and some fine print as well if you are interested in that. So definitely go and follow the thread. The link is, of course, as always, in the description below, and you'll be able to get your entry in for the competition and win $100 if you have one of the top 10 entries. Okay, next we got this update from Lee. who is a Holesky testnet user, and he says, did something happen on Holesky about 3 hours ago? I noticed my validator wasn't attesting just now, and I see that participation for the chain has dropped from 93% to 76%. Is I'm running Nimbus and did a resync, and it's all working now. So it seems like there was a problem with Nimbus, and I think that's what Joe was referring to, but I'm not sure. There was a problem with Nimbus that caused the chain finalization to go down, and it looks like Nimbus are already working on a fix, or they have fixed it, or they understand that there was a problem with it. And yeah, here look, Etan says tested on Holesky, the block that previously failed to apply now applies fine and can resync past it. So thankfully, it looks like it's all working properly now. So it looks like there was an issue there for a little while, and there was some finalization problems on, no, not finalization problems, sorry, because it was above 66%, but Nimbus was down, which was causing some issues. Okay, next we got some really sad news from Rocky Himalaya. He says, hey guys, I was just drained on my withdrawal wallet. I'm guessing I should make a new wallet to use as a withdrawal address. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm tilted right now. So he lost $45,000. He's in shock. Like he signed a bad transaction and his wallet was drained, which is really, really sad. He found an airdrop tweet on Twitter, and he basically followed it, and he tried to claim the airdrop, and of course they drained his wallet. His question was, there was a withdrawal address, like, what should I do? How will this work? So people gave him the advice that, look, if it was just a bad transaction that you signed, then you can go and revoke all permissions and your wallet should still be okay. But if you gave away your seed or private key, then at that point, that wallet is gone, and you should start a new wallet. So it was just a malicious transaction, but he lost $45,000, which is really horrible. So as I say on the show all the time, please, 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 please be careful about all the links that you're clicking on, because people will rob you, and that's horrible, and it shouldn't be the case. But sadly, that is the reality of the world out there, and fuck those scammers, bastards. Finally, we're going to end the episode on a nicer note. So here, Patches' cat says hello to us, and I think it was mashing Patches' keyboard, so we got a message from the cat. So thank you, Patches, for sending a message from your cat and saying hello. On that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. And I think, it was a much better weekend in the Rocket Fuel community than it was last weekend. And this week, we've got ETH Denver coming up, and I'll be flying out on Wednesday. I will be taking my laptop with me, so you might get some shoddy quality recorded episodes of Rocket Fuel if I'm able to make the time, but there's a chance that I'll be missing episodes on a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You should think that I won't have episodes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I'll be back on Monday next week. But I'll try to get some episodes out for you all, because I know it's such an exciting time. So it'd be nice, to kind of keep people up to date with what's going on. And maybe we'll get some special guests who pop in and say hi while I'm recording as well. So that would be really cool. Anyway, thank you all. And I hope, you're enjoying the green candles, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.